Hello, this is Dr. Wedeking with Renew Dental Implant Specialist. Let me talk a little bit about a topic that is very, very important to understand, and that is why root canals fail. Not all root canals fail the same way, but the principle around a root canal is that you're trying to save the foundation of the crown. So the tooth is all one piece, correct? But you see the crown, the foundation is the root. So we're trying to save the root. And the reason why I say this is that implants are simply a synthetic root. So root canal treated teeth are technically devitalized teeth. So in here, this is a vital tooth. You see the nerve canal here, and here's a vital tooth, but some fillings may be almost devitalized because of the trauma that's occurred here, or even something here, and there's a crown here. This is a root canal treated tooth. Now, what happens when a tooth becomes devitalized? It becomes brittle. And when it becomes brittle, my analogy is that it becomes a brick building in an earthquake. When there's something hitting it, eventually it will microfracture and crack off. That's one of the biggest problems we have with front teeth, like this one. This is a front one. You have sideways load, meaning your lower teeth come and hit typically like this. The front teeth are like scissors. Scissors don't hit on edge, they hit side to side. So the load is forcing sideways, unlike molars where they go up and down, where it's a compressive load. It's up and down chewing. I call them hammers. So you have scissors in the front and hammers in the back. So the hammers in the back have a good load with a crown for a brittle foundation. Here's a brittle foundation, and that's where they typically break. They break right at the gum line. And here we have a situation where the dentist had cut the tooth down to put a cosmetic crown on a very weak foundation, and the weakest point is right here. So the dentist knows it's weak, so he or she decides to put a post down into the core. One of the biggest problems I see with cases like this is that it doesn't fracture here anymore, it fractures here. Or something else happens, because now this will crack eventually. No matter what, it will. It won't last forever. If you're chewing food, it will crack and break, I guarantee it. So for us as implantologists, we look at every root canal treated tooth as a pre-implant site. Now, when this fractures, the leverage is down here, and it typically fractures or cracks well below the gum line. This is down into the bone. Now, the other part that you'll see fractures is that it'll fracture at the weakest point. So the weakest point in this case is right here and right here, because they drilled so much out down the canal to just do the root canal, and then they put a big post down the middle. Now the post doesn't really help this. It'll still just crack and it'll whittle itself out. And that's why root canal treated teeth fail. Other reasons why it could be is that it cracks and you get an infection, goes down to here. And that means you have to take all this out. Now, it's very difficult to take this out without damaging the natural walls. So at that point, it would be a waste of your money and time and effort, or anybody, to try to retreat something like this where you got to get in here. There's one type of root canal that endodontists might try to do to try to save this. Sometimes they call it a reverse root canal or apicoectomy. And the problem you have with that is that the longevity of a tooth that has this procedure is gonna only probably be a few years before you lose the whole thing. Now, when you do the procedure, you come in through the gums and they take away bone. When you take away bone, that's my goal, to do something that's lifelong, meaning putting an implant in, I need bone. Implants need bone. You take it away from this area, I can get the implant in, but then I've got a big hole to deal with. So that's not a recommended treatment for any teeth if you're trying to restore that tooth with a root canal of like an apicoectomy or a reverse root canal. Now, the reason why they have that procedure is kind of pre-implants. They would do a traditional 3-unit bridge. You would take the tooth out, and now you cut this crown off, and you make a crown here, and you connect it as a 3-unit bridge. That's a traditional way of restoring an edentulous site, which is what we would be wanting to do with an implant. The difference is here is now we don't jeopardize this tooth into a root canal by doing it again and traumatizing it, nor would we be traumatizing this anymore and causing this to have a root canal. We're only focused on the ailing situation, the failing root canal part, and we'd be putting the implant in once this fails. So those are some important points to know about root canals in the front teeth. We'll be talking a little bit more when we talk a little bit more about root canals in the back teeth, but you got the idea. So take care.